Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. Today here for you, our VP of Hosting Products, Dennis Kittrell, and I, Kate Vitihata, Product Marketing Manager for CloudLinux OS products. And today we will talk about the recent release of new features for CloudLinux OS Pro, AccelerateWP modules, and Beta Program. Its conditions, requirements, and how you can benefit from it. We also will go through the live demo and show you how the new tools look like, how they work for hosters and for the end users. We also will be glad to answer all your questions by the end of the webinar. So please don't hesitate to send it here in chat or button Q&A tab, and we will answer by the end of the webinar. We also will do the recording of this session, so everyone who registered will be able to receive the recording by email or see it in our social media channels or YouTube as usual. Okay, Dennis, would you like to start?
I would, yep. So welcome everybody, thanks for joining. As Katya mentioned, we're going to be talking about a new program called Accelerate WordPress, and I know some of you have heard of it by now, either in one of the presentations that's been shared online, or at CloudFest, or however, or through our blog post. So you may know a little bit about it, but I'm just going to explain just a general overview. It's a big shift in strategy that we're taking. That's focusing more acutely on end user value. So we're building value specifically for the site owners or our hosting provider customers and customers. And the reason we're doing that is the whole objective behind it is to help our hosting provider customers grow and expand their revenue. So we're creating upsell opportunities by delivering new features, new business value for those end users, for those site owners, and also enabling and promoting premium features so that we create those upsell opportunities. In the beginning of this program, we're focusing primarily on WordPress. As many of you know, that's where the industry is headed. It will be for quite some time. Most of the industry is heavily focused on WordPress, and I know that most of your customers, our customers' customers, are heavily focused on WordPress. This, as I'm sure you've gathered by now, this is in beta. One thing that I want to be clear about up front is currently it's available for CloudLinux OS Pro license servers today because it requires the PHP X-Ray feature to function. So I'll go ahead and get into the presentation here. So this is the history. This is everything that we've built so far and what we're planning on building. So I mentioned the PHP X-Ray. That was released back in Q4 of last year. The Smart Advice is a utility that actually takes data from PHP X-Ray and recommends whether or not to install any of the plugins available in Accelerate WordPress. So today we have two modules for Accelerate WordPress. One is a standard module that's going to be included for free in OS Pro licensed servers, and that's the site optimization module. And then we have the object caching module based on Redis that's going to be included in the premium. Now, in the future, during the beta program in the next several quarters, we're going to be building more value into both the standard version of Accelerate WordPress and the Accelerate WordPress Premium offering. And we're going to be doing that based on feedback from all of our beta participants and your customers. So I'm going to get into the demo here. Right now, the first thing I'm going to show you is our plugins on the WordPress side. So this is typically what your users are going to be interacting with. So this is the value that they're going to see after they install the plugins. Now you may actually recognize this screen. This is the site optimization plugin that can be automatically installed, and it will be deployed inside of your customer's WordPress website. It's basically full page caching. It can be customized, and there are many customization options for specific site needs. So for example, a lot of sites will have separate mobile and desktop versions. And you may want to enable a separate cache for each of those, especially if you don't isolate media queries specifically. And also, you may want to exclude e-commerce from cache. So a lot of these settings are site-specific based on your user's needs. They may say, look, I've seen it slow down when I'm caching the e-commerce products or the e-commerce portion of it, so they can exclude that. So I'll go into the file optimization. This is browser caching, so you can store minified CSS and JavaScript files in local memory. You can do this on both desktop and mobile. Lazy loading, there's a lot of performance benefits. So that's allows you to improve the load times of images, videos, and iframes, and iframe content as it comes into the viewport. So it only loads them when it's necessary. And also cache preloading. This is very useful. So it loads the cache before the visitor requests the content. And there's a few other settings here, but these are really the biggest ones. And like I said, you may recognize this screen. This is something that what we've done here is we've taken these two powerful open source plugins that are very popular. They're proven in the WordPress world, and we've allowed you to automate the deployment of them, but more specifically when it actually matters, when we have the data to show that the sites will be improved, the performance of the sites will be improved when these are installed. And here's the second plugin is Redis Object Cache. Again, you may have seen this. It's quite a popular plugin. There are no settings here. It's a little bit easier for a user to manage. There's nothing specific. It's just object caching that caches objects at the code level. For example, objects created after querying the database. And this is pretty simple to use. It's just activated once our smart advice tells them to do so. So let me go into the cPanel admin. So this is something that I'm sorry. I'm going to go into the WHM admin first. So here you'll see there are two new tabs. So when you activate the beta program, you'll see two new tabs appearing in WHM on the CloudLinux Manager. You'll see Smart Advice and Accelerate WordPress. So Smart Advice is generating all of its data from PHP X-Ray. If you don't know what PHP X-Ray is, it's available in CloudLinux OS Pro. And what it does, it does in-depth profiling to find problematic areas of a website. So it's going to, it can run in the background. You can run it on demand. If you turn on auto tracing, which is highly recommended, especially for this beta program, it's going to run in the background. It's going to analyze those events, and from those events, Smart Advice is going to generate advice specific to each website that is going to benefit the end user. So you can see here in WHM, there are demo sites here do have some advice to turn on caching, for example. And the user will see that inside of cPanel here on this Accelerate WordPress screen. So I'll go back to the root for you. So they'll find here a new plugin called Accelerate WordPress. And when they load this, they're going to see all of their WordPress sites are going to be automatically populated in here. And they're going to see what advice Smart Advice has generated for them. Now, not all servers on, not all websites on a server are going to benefit from either of these plugins. So it's important that that we don't necessarily want these users to install these plugins or install these modules if it's not going to benefit. So it's all based on the nature of their website. What is it used for? How many, what kind of content is on there? Are there videos, images, iframes? Is it an e-commerce store? What kind of plugins does it use? What theme does it use? All of those different variables are going to impact whether or not turning on one of these plugins is valuable. And that's really the the real value of Accelerate WordPress. And you could go and partner with any one of these performance-related caching plugins or any kind of site optimization plugin for WordPress, and you could resell those to your customers. The problem is, depending on how their configuration is, they can actually have an adverse impact on the website. So based on all of those variables, the value that we offer is that we can analyze the site and we can guarantee a positive performance impact on the site without the user having to needing to have any development expertise or understanding of how any of that works, and also without requiring your engineers or your technical folks to get involved. And that's the real magic behind all of this. So I'm going to show you one last page here in the WHM. So this is the Accelerate WordPress tab. Now, once you activate the beta, and assuming you join the beta and we send you the instructions, you'll have instructions on how to install Accelerate WordPress Beta. The first thing you'll do is you'll come and enable it here, and that will show the plugin icon for all users, but it won't enable each of these modules for all users. So there's the site optimization module and the object cache module. Again, these are the first two. There's more coming in the future, and definitely more value coming even before we exit the beta. You can come here and enable this per user. So if you have specific users that you want to help beta test this, you can certainly invite them manually and come here and enable these modules for them manually. Or you can say, this server, I want everybody on this server to have access to both modules, and you just allow site optimization and object cache for all users. And now I'm going to show a quick demo of what this looks like. So there's two sites here, identical sites, WordPress sites, on two separate servers that are identical. Identical configuration, everything is the same. Now, user1.com, this site has no optimization plugins installed. There's no site optimization, and there's no Redis Object Cache. Again, it's a complete replication of the other site. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the load times of each. So we're going to show you the first one. This again is standard website with e-commerce, with all kinds of content, and it's replicated. You can see here on the bottom right, it takes about 7.5 seconds to load this website with no object cache or site optimization modules installed. Now we go to this other, I'm sorry, let me change this screen here. Now we go to user2.com, exactly the same, and we're going to load this. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds. So we have a difference of 6 seconds of load time, and everything is identical. The only difference is we have two modules of Accelerate WordPress installed. We have the site optimization module, and we have the Redis Object Cache module. Okay, and that's it for the demo. So I'll go back to our slideshow here, and we'll talk about the benefits of the beta program. So during the beta program, you have access to everything Accelerate WordPress free of charge. That includes the site optimization module, Smart Advice that we talked about, which is the real magic, and the Object Cache module. Anything that we release, which is going to be based on feedback from you and your users and how we prioritize that work, that's going to include user experience improvements. It's going to include fixing bugs. It's going to include all the different things that we're going to do to iterate to improve this product. You get all of that for free during the beta program. Everything is free of charge until at least March of 2023. It's possible that we will extend that free period, depending on depending on some decisions that we'll make. That's our goal, to exit the beta, but we do have some exit criteria for the beta that we anticipate hitting before that date. You will get technical assistance directly from our product development team. That's a huge advantage. You'll have access to communicate directly with the engineers who built this. You'll have access to myself, and also to our marketing leader, Katya, who can give you assistance in sales enablement material and give us, and we'll work on building out a program to help you promote and help you prepare to sell this and upsell this to your customers. You'll also be the earliest to market. So in the beta program, you'll be able to offer this to your customers, including the X-ray, including the smart advice, and being sure that you're offering real value to your customers earlier than the rest of the market. And you'll have access, as soon as we have the provisioning API, you'll have access to generate revenue earlier than others. The technical beta program requirements, it does, like I mentioned, it does require OS Shared Pro. Right now, it's only with cPanel. Now, based on demand, we are certainly planning the other major control panels, hosting control panels. The question is when do we prioritize that? There's obviously a lot of work to do to improve this product, and we're going to base that on market data mostly from our beta participants, but also other customers of CloudLinux. It does require WordPress version 3.7 and higher, also PHP 5.6 and higher with the Redis extension, and it does require these PHP handlers and or PHP SAPI. Currently, it is officially only supported on Apache web server. We do have some early beta participants that are testing this on Lite Speed web server. We don't discourage that. It's not officially supported, but obviously we want your feedback. We want people to test this. We want real world users on Lite Speed web server, and that's how we can build that support. Features roadmap. Now, I want to clarify. Obviously, this is a beta program, so the features roadmap is always subject to change. We are always listening every day. We've got many Slack channels, and assuming you join the beta program, we're going to be communicating actively with you as well. We're always listening and always taking feedback, and that's adjusting our priorities based on the feedback that we're learning about, the problems that we're seeing users run into, bugs that we're finding, things like that. So I want to make it clear that this is our plan as of today. And this goes back to Q4 2020, but in terms of roadmap, in this quarter, Q2, and next quarter, Q3, these are our current plans, and we anticipate building a lot of value based on your feedback this year and next. So I want to talk a little bit about the pricing. So I know that that's a big question that a lot of the current beta participants and anyone who's interested in the beta program has. There's a couple of things we know, and I've already mentioned that the program is completely free until at least March of next year. There's a couple of things that we have decided in terms of pricing. It will be decided at least 3 months prior to the end of the free period. And the biggest thing that we want is we want data. We want to make sure that we match the price to the perceived value of the end user, because this is going to be something that is directly sold to the end user. As I mentioned originally or earlier on, our objective here is to build value for the end user for the purpose of generating revenue for our hosting providers. So we want to maximize that revenue, which means that we need to really deeply understand the perceived value of this product to the end user. How is it improving their e-commerce conversions? How is it improving their calls to action or their time on the site? Things that, metrics that really matter to them, and what is that worth to them? And I know that varies a lot in the grand spectrum of use cases of your customers, but it's important for us to really get a good sense of that figure, because we don't want to undervalue this when your revenue and your numbers are on the line as well. So bottom line is we need data to set the price, and we need your help getting that data. Our plan is to share that revenue with you. That's one thing that we know. We want a revenue share model. So you set that price, the user buys monthly from you, a subscription from you as an add-on, and we have a percentage of that revenue share. We are also quite convinced that this should be a per site add-on, so per WordPress website. That's something that we've discussed with many beta participants and anyone who's been interested, and we've studied a bit with a lot of our customers for the last 6 months. We are open to feedback on that. We want to hear all of your opinions, but currently that's something that we've decided the majority of our customers want. And that's it. I think we should open it up to Q&A now.
Thank you, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So if you have any questions, please send it here in chat or Q&A tab. And we have some so far. Dennis, so will there be a cPanel / WHMCS option to allow clients to add these value add by themselves and only charge if they keep feature? Not sure if you...
And only charge if they keep the
feature? And only charge if they keep feature.
Yes. So the idea is that if we do expect there to be a free trial, if that answers your question, and the cPanel WHMCS extension, we're building a provisioning API, and we definitely expect to build a WHMCS extension that simplifies the process of you charging for this, upselling this within cPanel, and that's the goal, right? We want to make sure that when a user is given advice, based on the data, the hard data that we've received from PHP X-Ray, that user is presented with an opportunity to activate those features, whether it's the free site optimization module or it's the premium Accelerate WordPress premium offering. We want to make sure that we present that to them on your behalf, without involvement from anyone required on your side, and say, hey, there's this performance increase that we know we can give you because we've analyzed your website. Click here to upgrade. So that's the idea, and we want to make that as simple as possible, and that definitely includes WHMCS integration.
Okay, thank you. And the next question: how long is the beta program going to run for?
So the beta program is right now is around 6 months is what we're expecting. But again, the beta program doesn't have an end date. It's more exit criteria. So once we have hit that criteria, or we've achieved that criteria, then the program graduates out of beta.
Okay. The next question is, any ETA for when object caching will be available on servers that have Lite Speed?
Yes, so we are working on the object caching with Lite Speed, and currently the challenge is within the user interface. So it actually does work. It's just about enabling it in the user interface. Needs to be built. So we know that that's a highly requested feature. We do have a lot of highly requested features, and right now it's available for Apache servers, and we're working to prioritize a lot of features right now. I do not currently have an ETA on the Lite Speed. I'm sorry, the Object Cache module support for Lite Speed web server. But as soon as we have an ETA, we'll definitely be in contact with anyone who's requested that of us, especially if they're already in the beta program.
Thank you. And the same question, and the question on the same topic. We currently use the Lite Speed cache for the page caching. How will AccelerateWP be compatible?
Sure. Yes. So the plan is to optimize the flow for any version. I'm sorry, any configuration of website. So we want to analyze the website, and we want to determine whether or not object caching is the best way to go, or different solutions. So there's a possibility that Smart Advice might analyze. X-Ray may analyze the website, and Smart Advice says, object caching isn't really the best thing for you. This is the best thing, and maybe it's the Lite Speed cache plugin, right? There's a lot of ways we can go with that, but there's decisions that need to be made, and there's real-world data that we need to collect. So we need feedback from real production users. So the more actual site owners who are running live production websites who are using Accelerate WordPress, the better we can make these decisions, right? We need that data. We need feedback from those users. We need to collect that data with the X-ray, the PHP. PHP auto tracing enabled allows us to collect all of that data and make these kinds of product-related decisions. Now, a lot of times the Lite Speed Cache plugin and the Object Cache plugin may, if they're both turned on based on other variables within the website, maybe it actually hinders the performance of the website. There's a lot of variables that we need to be considering, but the compatibility of those two, I know that we have requests for everything related to Lite Speed. So our goal is to provide the value of really analyzing the data from the website that we have access to, and then directing and advising the user, the site owner, on what to do next. And that's the real value here of Accelerate WordPress. So I hope that answers your question. If not, let me know.
Thank you. And the next question, why don't you work with the WordPress and WooCommerce?
It definitely works with WooCommerce, that's for sure.
If you found some issues, I mean, I'd love to, if you're testing it currently and you found some issues there, certainly reach out through the channels that we've provided you. I mean, we want to, if it's not working there for some reason.
It works. It works. We test exactly on WooCommerce.
Sure. No, I'm just saying if this customer is having specific issues, it may be a bug, something that we need to help him troubleshoot, that sort of thing. But as far as I'm aware, it should work very well with WooCommerce.
Do you plan to integrate with Lite Speed Cache plugin? Because Lite Speed Cache plugin already does everything you provide except for the Redis server.
Yeah, I think that's the same question from before. So Lite Speed Cache plugin, it's not really an integration. It's more of a plays well together. And I think that I do want to clarify, when you say it does everything that we provide, I want to be clear. The real value of this isn't in the plugins itself. Obviously, the plugins are what do the work. The real value is that we're doing the work. We're enabling these plugins only when it really matters, when we know it's going to have a positive impact. Now, you can't say that about Lite Speed Cache plugin all the time. You can't say that about some of these other plugins if you went to partner with them, or even if you just told your customer, hey, go buy this plugin and install it. Even if you don't make any money, there's a chance that it would actually hurt them, right? There's a chance that it would conflict with another plugin they're using, or potentially that theme that they're using, or something that they're doing with the website. So the real value is the near guarantee that if they use this product and we're saying, yes, you should install this, we're basically guaranteeing the value, or guaranteeing a performance improvement. And that's really what we're bringing to the table here that doesn't exist anywhere else, and that uniquely that CloudLinux can uniquely offer. So I want to be clear that there are plugins that can do performance improvements and things like that, but the real value here is for your end users is that it's that we're only going to be advising it to the users that are actually going to benefit, and we have hard data to show that.
Will there be a recommended retail price to bill for?
So there will be, yes. So that's the idea. So that there will be an end user a suggested retail price. Now that's going to be based on all of our market data, and there will be a revenue share with CloudLinux based on that price. And the reason that is obviously we want to maximize your revenue. So we want to really dig into and deeply understand the perceived value, and we want to maximize the revenue and what's being sold to your customers and at what price. And we also want to equalize the market. We don't want this to become something where it's a race to the bottom, where everybody's competing to lower the price. That's a very important part of our strategy, and it's very important to achieving our objective of maximizing your revenue.
Varnish Cache, should we disable it for the sites we want to use AccelerateWP? And WordPress caching plugins, should we disable those too?
So I would say that generally the answer is yes, but it also could be that you simply wouldn't get advice to enable these plugins, or I'm sorry, enable our Accelerate WordPress plugins with those turned on. But maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Sergey or Stanislav.
Yeah, it will be it will show you that our solution is incompatible with Varnish Cache, yeah, and you have to disable it before using it.
Right. So if you wanted to use Accelerate WordPress, you would need to disable those before any plugins would be advised, any modules of Accelerate WordPress would be advised to your users.
Do you have any performance comparison between Lite Speed cache and AccelerateWP page cache?
As far as I know, we do have some performance comparisons internally that we're working on. We're collecting a lot of that data, as we go. It's a very new product, and we just launched the beta program just about a month ago. So a lot of our early beta testers are hard at work promoting this to their end users and onboarding customers. So we're collecting a lot of data, but we're also doing internal testing and benchmarking ourselves. But the real test is real world websites. I mean, that's how we know there's so many variables in a website, in a WordPress website, especially themes and plugins. And I mean, the real data for us is going to be to analyze those. So I mean, we could build, dummy websites all day long, even the ones that I showed you. I mean, those they're not highly trafficked websites. They're not crawling with bots and other things, and they don't have a lot of outdated plugins or different issues that a lot of real world websites have. And so that's the data that we really want before we start publishing some of that. Right now, we could show you amazing numbers because we've tested them on internal websites and we've populated them with dummy data. And obviously, we can build specifically for that. But until we improve all of our performance based on real data, well, it's not really going to mean as much. It's going to mean something, but not as much.
Charging extra for this plugin won't work for our user space. The advantage for the web host offering Redis Object Cache would be to reduce the server load. What if we want to offer it to all of our customers instead of having most customers choosing to not pay extra to use it?
Well, it's something we could certainly discuss. I mean, if that's something that that you want to offer for all of your customers, I don't think that we'd be against that. It's certainly not in line with what we've heard from the majority of our customer base. And again, the objective here, and what our strategy has been all along since we initiated this project, is to generate more revenue and create revenue opportunities for our hosting customers. And that seems to be resonating with, I'd say, the vast majority of everyone we've talked to about this. So I wouldn't say that we'd be opposed to that. If you're interested in buying this for all of your customers, I think that we'd be open to talk to you about that. But again, even the Redis cache may not be the best solution for every website. In fact, we've seen, in some cases, we've seen small percentages of websites on a server that even should install the Redis Object Cache. So if you install it blanket, server wide for all of your customers, all of your site owners on a single server, there could be a good chunk of them that actually would see negative performance impact. So there are some things to consider there, but we can absolutely discuss it. Certainly email me directly, and we can open up a dialogue. I'm happy to hear all of your insight and any desires that you have. So we should definitely discuss it.
Do we work with WP Rocket?
In terms of the site optimization plugin, it is based on the open source code from WP Rocket. If that answers the question. I believe that's.
Thank you. Are there any other features planned for the premium paid version beyond Redis Object Cache?
Absolutely. So we are validating many new features that we want to build and that we have feature requests for. There are problems that our customers want to solve. Some of them have to do with CDN or database optimization or image compression, things like that. So we're actually, if you're interested in specific things, I definitely recommend either reaching out to our product team directly, to myself, or if you're in the beta program, definitely add your perspective there. We're going to be querying all of our beta participants for many of these features to help us prioritize them. So based on end user demand, site owner demand, and your problems that you would like to have solved and problems that your customers need to solve. So we're going to be assessing all of those during the beta program and prioritizing them accordingly.
What sort of pricing model would you work for the server owner that works with nothing but their own client sites?
So say a design agency that has a server and all of the sites on the server belong to the same agency. Is that? I assume that that's correct. I'll go with that. So in that case, it's still a per site license. I mean, the value would still be there per WordPress website. We do have licensing for OS Solo. So WordPress the Accelerate WordPress feature will be available in Solo as well. So that seems like that's the use case, or that's the model there that would be fitting in that case. And we're looking for market data. So it may make sense that we have different pricing for that. It may not. The value needs to match, again, the price. So the perceived value in that case would be the server owner who runs the agency that has all the sites on that server. So we would need to get that market data. We'd need to understand the value to that server owner, and we'd need to fix the price to that. So these are all very good questions, and these are things that we absolutely need to dig into and solve during this beta program and free period.
One more question. Is there any impact with running these behind a CDN such as Cloudflare with its optimization?
I mean, it would obviously the CDN will help in its own way, but there's not going to be any conflict. We are considering some other features that may integrate with specific CDNs, and when that happens, obviously there may be some considerations to be made. But currently, there would be, at least to my knowledge, and Sergey and Stanislav, maybe you can correct me if I'm mistaken, but currently there's no conflict if they're using CDN today.
No conflict. It will complement it.
That's right. That's my understanding. Yep.
Thank you all. Thank you, Denis. Thank you, Stanislav and Sergey, for answering all the questions. And see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.